Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Bikini in the Brain. As always, I'm here with the lovely Ashley Kaltwasser.
Hello, everyone.
And speaking of Ashley Kaltwasser, getting ready to compete soon here. Looks like
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
right?
yeah. It was a little bit of a struggle to get back on track after Olympia to get 100% like focused and locked in. But I finally did. So, yeah, I think I'm going to compete here in a few weeks,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Ashley's
So,
looking pretty lean,
you
looking pretty
know,
good.
I feel a lot better about prepping for this one. A little bit of a bummer I didn't get to compete right after Olympia like I wanted to, but I think the timing is better now anyway because the holidays aren't going to get to me.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stay strong.
Stay strong this holidays. And,
Mhm.
if you do, just eat some turkeys.
Yes,
Eat some turkey. You can't go wrong with turkeys.
exactly.
And
Mhm.
and speaking of competing, that's what we're going to be talking about today is okay, I'm a competitor. We've talked about kind of structuring your season before, but what is like the most optimal way for a competitor in all different scenarios? I want to go over those scenarios. And if you're watching, go ahead and put your scenario in the comments too. What's the best way for me to attack this? And it doesn't just apply to people who are competing, it also applies to people who want to look good for a certain period of the year and opt and maximize their year. So if even if you're just a regular person and you want to look good during summers or look good during whatever a reunion, like how would I optimize my workout and structure my workout planning and food intake to maximize my growth for the rest of the year while I'm planning like a show, a period of shows, or is it for you all the shows? So that's what we're gonna go into today.
Mhm. So, for the most part, this is going to be like towards the end of everyone's season. We only have a few more national shows left, a few more opportunities to earn a pro card. The shows in general are slowing down towards the end of the year because not a lot of people want to compete around the holidays. I will be, but not a lot of people want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Most people are going to want to be prepping through November, December. That's what the promoters have realized this, and they stopped doing so many shows because it is not the wisest time to have shows when no one's showing up because they ate too much on Thanksgiving and Christmas
Yeah, that's the
and New
thing.
Year's. It's
Mhm.
such a hit. It's so many in a row. It's so many.
No, 3 in a row towards the end of the year, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's.
Average American, 5.2 pounds. Was it? Was it 5.2 pounds
Jeez.
from the day before Thanksgiving to I think it's like I think it's a few days after New Year's.
It's a lot of cardio.
That's crazy, right?
Mhm.
Five. I think it was 5.2 if I remember correctly off the top of my head.
Jeez.
Yeah, I've been saying that stat for years, so I think I'm pretty like confident it was 5.2. Isn't that
It's a
nuts?
good reminder, though. It's a good reminder. Be careful.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
5.2 is like some people's whole year of gaining body fat.
Yeah.
That's like a whole for a lot of people. That's a whole gaining phase. Like 5 pounds of fat to
Mhm.
lose. That's about a whole gaining phase for like the average 120-pound bikini competitor. If they're going through a gaining phase and they're gaining, let's say 120 pounds, they gain 10%. That's 12-ish pounds. Yeah, about around there. It's like 7-ish pounds, right? Of body
Mm.
fat they have to lose. So that's crazy in 5 weeks period.
Yeah.
And we're talking they do that in 16 weeks with intention of eating in a surplus.
Yeah.
That's nuts when
It
you think about it.
is.
And that's just,
Yeah.
oh, I just happen to be going through the holidays. That's where people get caught off too. Is like if you just don't catch it one year and then you do it like 2-3 years in a row, then you're up 18 pounds ish, 16
Mhm.
pounds ish, and you're like, man, what happened? Just it was really just November through January. So all right. So going into how you're going to be attacking the season, as Ashley said, most people are finishing up their shows. A couple shows are left. What do you do after the show?
Right. So I think it's always nice to have a plan, because we don't want to just finish the show and be like, okay, now what? Like, without having a plan, things can go bad. So sometimes I get the idea of waiting to see how the show goes and maybe doing another one. That makes sense. But be prepared if you're going into off season to have an off season plan ready for you.
Yeah, right after your show. How I like to do it is I generally will have clients that they compete on Saturday. Tell them, hey, have a relaxed Sunday, have a meal on Saturday night, high protein meal. Check in Monday. Let's see where you're at. Check in Monday with your show pictures and then kind of see what you look like. Hopefully, you have pictures of next to competitors. We can see what you look like next to them. And then let's take a look at what we need to do from there. How much bigger was the winner than you? Or are you undersized? Were your conditioning right? Were you too tight, too soft, whatever? What do we need to work on? And does it make sense to keep continuing? Does it make sense to say, hey, you know what, you're a little small. We need to grow. We need to, go through a real growth phase. What's your long-term goal, etc. And then come up with a plan based on that, plan of attack based on that. For a lot of people, it'd say keep going. And then for a lot of others, it's like, hey, you're not gonna like to hear this, but probably need like 6 months, 9 months off even to grow,
Now, if you're someone that just has to worry about the conditioning and that's been what's holding you back from being successful, in that case, I'd say, yeah, keep going. Even if you're not getting, I guess, the call out that you wanted or the placement that you wanted, if your issue is just to get tighter, then you can keep going.
Yeah, that's an easy one. That's an easy one easier said than done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've had a client, actually, I had a client recently who like she wanted to get ready for a show, and I told her at the start, like, hey, you're not really giving much time. Like she started her prep, she's like, I want to do a show in like 12 weeks, right? Which I usually don't do like 12, I usually want 16 weeks. And she was like, well, I've already been dieting. So I'm like, well, okay, essentially she's already in that 16-week kind of frame, but she had a lot to lose. I was like, so it's not going to be fun. This is not going to be easy. It's not going to be fun. You're not going to enjoy it. It's going to be hard. And there's no way to get you in show shape in that time frame without like really going after it and kind of being miserable, And she was like, I'm up for it, whatever. I was like, all right, it's up to you. I don't care. It's up to you. And but she was already dieting for a long time. She's already down like a lot of weight. She's already down a good amount of weight. So the last bit, as she was getting closer to the show, I was like, you're not losing much at this point. And if we're going to get you ready, it's going to take a lot, even more than you're doing now. And I don't think it's worth it. And you're not going to be 100%, So in some scenarios, like you have to look at the scenario, maybe you've been dieting for 8 months. You've been dieting for 8 months. Don't expect month 9 to go better than month 1,
Yeah.
And in month 9 really does need to go kind of better than month 1 or 2 when you're getting show ready. Because a lot of people underestimate what it takes to go from, because if you're a bikini competitor, you're going to be on stage somewhere in the neighborhood of like 12's pretty lean. Some girls do come in that lean though, but it's very lean. That's like shredded lean. And then you're going to have all the way up to, 16-ish percent, 15-ish percent, depending on your lines and your structure. You can look at the kind of differences in physiques of who will be leaner than others. You could look at like an Issa would be on that lower 12% range, and like a Jennifer Dora would be on the upper 15, 16%. Ashley be in like the 14% kind of range, 13% range. So everyone has their range, and that's the thing about bikini is different conditioning for different athletes looks better differently. If you switched Issa and Jennifer's conditioning, they would both not do well, right? So it's you got to find what works for you in terms of that look, and that's gonna be something that comes up with the post-show kind of assessment and looking at your physique there. But people don't understand. Let's say you're gonna get to, let's say Ashley's level of conditioning, 13, 14%, going from 22% down to 18%, super easy, not hard at all, right? I mean, it takes work. You got to diet, it's like regular fitness dieting, regular fitness stuff. Like, oh, I'm just eating less and moving a little bit more. But going from 18% to 16%, that gets pretty hard. And then 16 to 13 is like, geez, what did I sign up for? Why is this sticking to me? It's like trying to wipe grease off your hands, it's like, it just doesn't come off, it's tough, man. It is a tough thing. So your setup for that last percent needs to be there. If you're thinking, oh, I'll just keep losing at this normal rate, it's not a problem at all. Your body fights you that last bit. Remember, it's doing something different than what you want it to do. It's trying to survive, and you're just trying to like get shredded and have a lot of muscle, which burns a ton of calories, and then have no calorie reserves at the same time. It's not how you're designed. So just don't know that going in. There's going to be times where your body's going to fight you. If your setup isn't right, if you didn't do your show year and your season right, that's why the off season is so important. We always harp on that, but so many times as coaches, like we get people like they just want to do 16 weeks ready for a show, and then they disappear for a year, and they're like, "Oh, I want to do the show in 16 weeks." Fine, but like the off season is like so much; it's almost more important than the show part. So, anyway, with that being said, how do you now structure your seasons, your breaks, and all that around that? Right?
Yes. So having that plan in place is super helpful. But before we get onto that, I also want to touch upon like the mental fatigue that also can play a role in if you should continue competing on or not, because that is such an underestimated factor of it. You can, I guess, be healthy, you can be, nothing's wrong. It should be a perfect prep, but something's holding you back. And that might be you're just over it and you're just burnt out and you just want a little mental break and not have to think about weighing this and weighing that and doing this. So I say this too. If you're not excited to start prep, I don't know if it's the right time to start prep. You should be excited to start prep. And I know that sounds crazy, but you should be like, yeah, my diet starts next week. I'm ready for this. Because if you're already like, my diet starts next week, oh my God, it's not even started and you're already like complaining about it. So you kind of have to be, ready mentally, enthusiastic, excited to suffer.
Yeah.
You got to.
You have to, the juice has to be worth the squeeze, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. You really can't fake it. These things, you can't force these things. I see it a lot with athletes, and I'm not going to say like particularly mine, but I've seen it a lot with athletes and where they're halfway in, they're like, yeah, I'm doing it, but you can tell they're kind of forcing themselves to do it because they committed. They said, whoa, I said, I'm going to do this show. I'm going to do the show. I said I was going to do it. And they're like halfway there. And then the results are okay all the way through prep. They're like, okay results. Like you're getting like, 60% of what I think you should make progress every week. And then the last like 3 weeks, month happens. And all of a sudden everything like start cutting fat. And I'm like, the only difference now why you're losing fat so fast is because this timeline is going and you actually gave 100% because you had to, right? Yeah. But before you're doing it because you're like, I guess I'll do this show. And then you're like, oh, I better shape up. Like I better shape up because I'm not in shape. And then they're like 4 pounds down, 5 pounds down. I'm like, where was this? Like it doesn't get easier. It never gets easier at the end. So like this is you not being motivated until the end. And if that's something that happens with you and is trending, like just look at, if that's happening to you every time, I would say look at how you're attacking the first 12 weeks, 8 weeks, because you're probably not attacking as hard as you are the last 4 weeks, 6 weeks. And that I see that so often as a coach. You just see it like, it's not supposed to be faster, guys. Like, why is it going faster now? Like it's always faster in the beginning, right? So just something to look at. And it usually comes down to workout intensity, workout intentions, cardio intentions, not snacking, having all those meals. I saw this funny meme the other day. I follow these like weight loss memes. I love them. They're so funny. And it said, the weight loss meme said, never trust anyone who tells you they can't lose weight and are in a calorie deficit. which is like, because it's just the truth. It's like, you're in a deficit, you're going to lean out. There's no way around it. Right. So it was kind of funny because like we've all heard that before. I can't do it. It's like, I can't lose weight. It's funny. Like, most of the world that said they can't lose weight now because of like GLP-1s and stuff, like they all can lose weight. And I'm like, well, go figure that everyone said they had a metabolic issue and it was their thyroid or whatever can now lose weight because they're taking, tirzepatide or, whatever it is. And I'm like, go figure. It was always eating. It was never not eating. And I told you, it's like literally everyone. So I find that's funny, but that's a funny meme. Right. So, but you see that in prep too. Yes. It's the little snacks that you don't think you're doing, or the cardio that you're just casually walking and talking on the phone and not working hard, those little things. So
you need to take prep seriously from the day you start it, not just the last 4 weeks when you see the timeline is closing in. So that makes it a lot easier, even for your coach to make the adjustments too, because the intensity, I know you speak about that a lot. It is such a factor in all this, and you can give someone the correct protocol, but if they're not pushing it, then it's not going to work. And there's only one person that can do that, and that's yourself. No one can push the intensity for you.
Yeah, it is. It's such a huge factor. It's such a huge factor, especially when like I'll see athletes and they fly in and will train or something, and they realize like the intensity they weren't working out. It's never like I never want to be like a got you moment. Hey, I got you. You weren't working out. It's like it's always like just an education thing. It's like, we'll teach them how to do proper, exercise technique and intensity, and then I'm like, whoa, I'm like way lit up, and I've been doing this for 2 years. Like it's one of those things where it's kind of eye opening. People, and you don't know what you don't know. That's the thing. You don't know you're not working out intensely, because you've just never worked out intensely, you know?
Right.
And there's like there's some people that work out so intense. Even when I was working out intense, I was shocked to work out like how hard they worked out. And I was like, dude, I can't, I can't believe that this is like, I can't even believe I can't do this. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I worked out. I remember I told you that story. I worked out with Carl Gipp a long time ago. And it was like my peak working out hard. Like
Uh-huh.
I thought I was a beast. You know, I was
Mhm.
like, I lift weights all day. I lift hard, heavy, you know, making noises in the gym. Like I'm working hard, like hardest worker in the gym that I would see, you know,
Mhm.
like in my gym. I always like worked out hard. And then I worked out with Carl and I was like, dude, I'm so weak. Like I'm such a wuss. Like I can't believe I'm this, like I'm a wuss, you know?
Yeah.
Like I didn't know. I
Mhm.
didn't know there was another level on top of my level. I thought I was peak level, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I've been doing that since I was 13. I don't know. I was like close to 30, you know? And I was like, my progression is so high. And then Carl's like, we're going to go down the rack and do a drop set on like chest press starting at like 120 and go in increments of like 10, 15 pounds or something. I was like, he went down like 5'10.
Mhm.
And I was like, I looked at him, I'm like, dude, that's stupid. Like, you can't do that. Like,
Mhm.
you humanly can't do that. Like, it's not like, you know, he's like, you could do it. Set your mind to it. I was like, okay, go ahead, buddy. Right. Like, he's my friend. Right. And
Yeah.
I'm like, sure, bud. Like, show me, you know,
Yeah.
that's heavy shit. And you're going from one down. You're not like drop sets are supposed to go like 20%.
Right.
Right. So you go 120, like you're pushing it at like 90. And then
Mhm.
you push it like 70, 65. And if you're going to go crazy, then you could go down like 50, something like that. Like that's a crazy intense drop set. Like boom, 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 boom. He's like 120, 110, like one. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense, dude. You
Right.
can't do that. Right. And he does it. And he just shoves it in my face, like reps it out. And I'm like, I mean, it's like, it was such a moment for me. Like, it was like looking inside a black hole. Like, I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know what's inside that, you know, like it was so crazy to me that you could humanly do that. And I was just like dumbfounded. And then I was just like, wow, there's a level of intensity that doesn't make, like, I can't even fathom it. And I've been
Mhm.
doing this my whole life,
Yeah.
prepping people like for years. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll try it. But I failed miserably.
Yeah.
Wasn't, you could prep to that. It still doesn't make sense to me because I don't see anyone else do that, but that's
Mhm.
like the peak intensity level. And then we went in and we went in another day. We did legs. And then he was like, all right, let's do some squats. We're like, all right, cool. And then this guy pulls out, he just reaches in his pocket, he pulls out a mouthpiece.
Oh.
And I'm like, what world of intensity do you come from? Like, this isn't the same planet, right? Because he's like gritting on his teeth, but he fully needed it. Like, like the intensity level of what I thought was the most intense to him, I felt like I was a beginner, right? So, like, of course he was jacked and looked crazy, you know? So it was like one of those things where it's like, you don't know what you don't know.
Mhm.
That was just like a funny story because it's always a story I tell people of like about intensity, because you don't realize like what level you can get to until you try it. And then sometimes it just seems kind of stupid. Like, it doesn't, like someone saying that to me working out all my years, meaning since I was a kid, like that seemed like it's not possible and stupid.
Right.
And then when you see someone do it and then they look like that, you're like, okay, well, maybe I haven't been hitting my intensity right. So that could be something that you could work into your season, is like, okay, I'm going to spend this part of the season after this show eating good, recovering good, and like working up to an intensity that I didn't think I could achieve to get results that I've never had before. Because to get results you never had before, you got to do something you never did before. And so find with someone that you can work out with that can push you to that level, you know? So that was a fun one for me, because it was like, it set me back. Like, it made me realize I need probably a couple years to get there, which is just didn't think.
But that's kind of an awesome thing, because you have potential. Like, you know, you could do better.
Yeah.
So if you look at it like that, it's like, hey, you know what? There's room to grow.
Yeah. It's like kind of that's what it was for me too. It was like a fun moment, because you realize, oh, I thought I was at like level like 10. Apparently I'm at like level 5.
Yeah.
like it's like you just leave like defeated though. You're like, man, I thought I was giving it. Like, I thought I'm sore. Like, but yeah, you know, and that's where, you know, working out with the trainer, getting in with the session and realizing, okay, where's my holes? That's going to be a good time for you. And doing that show to show is going to be really difficult, because the intensity working up that intensity requires some recovery, requires some calories. It's going to be tough. So yeah. And so that's one of the things that I want to kind of go into with this is being realistic with your, and intentional with your off seasons, and, not doing show to show like a lot of people want to do.
Right.
You know?
It's not for everyone.
Yeah. And you got to look at clusters of shows. Actually, I'll be pulling a pro off for like a year soon. I'll tell you who after, but
it's me. Yeah. You've heard it here.
Yeah, a whole year.
I need to grow.
We're gonna get your glutes so big. They're gonna be. You need 2 chairs the next time we see Ashley a year from now. That's always like my joke. I'll tell clients, when you're like, when their glutes are growing, like, your glutes are getting so big, you need 2 seats the next time you fly out here. It's always funny. And it's just, not big enough, needs more size, and got to be realistic if you want that career to be successful in the long run. You can't just go show to show to show. If you want to be moving up and moving into, higher ranks. So yeah. All right. So timeline of shows. I think that's the important thing.
Yes. I feel like people forget that shows always are a thing, right? They're not going away. If anything, shows are more plentiful each and every single year. So if you have this family reunion trip that you've been planning for, 6 months, and it's during this week, and, that's a week before your show, like, maybe just push back the show. Like, we don't have to, they're always happening. If you feel like there's a super inconvenient event that is taking place that might jeopardize your prep, you can push it back. Now, as you always say, there is no perfect time, right? And I agree with that. But at the same time, if it makes more sense to compete later in the year, just do that. It's more mentally freeing that way too. You don't feel like you're missing out on this big event. You don't have to stress if you're going to be ready in time. We don't have to rush into anything. They're always taking place. So never forget that. They're always taking place.
Yeah. Especially when people set their eyes on one show and it just doesn't make sense timeline wise.
Right.
They're like, oh, well, I've always wanted to do this show, but my family has a vacation, or I have a 3 weeks before it. And I'm like, that's not, it's really tough timing. Like, let's just
do the 1-2 months after.
Yeah. And why is it you want to do this show? Why is it so important? It's like, there's tons of shows, so unless it's like an Arnold or Olympia thing.
That's different for the pros. Maybe people don't know this. I'll just restate it. For Olympia and the Arnold, you have to put in your contract way ahead of time, months in advance, not the Monday of. So with regular shows for the pros, you have to sign your contract on Monday. So if I wanted to compete this weekend, I would have to sign my contract today by noon Pacific. But yeah, Arnold, Olympia, months in advance. So you can't get out of it.
Yep. Yeah. Shouldn't.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you shouldn't.
You really shouldn't.
People do, but you should.
Yeah, you really shouldn't. Especially when there's like 10 people and like 2 drop out. It's like,
oh, for the Arnold. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, that's 20% of the show. Like 20%. Like, it's not like 100 people in the show. You don't really notice it at the Olympia when there's 68 and one of them dropped off. You're like, whatever, but when it's like 20% of the show, you better show up. So
hopefully I don't have to drop out of the Arnold.
I know.
I want to do the Arnold, but what if I have to?
If it's a real reason, like a surgery, I get it. You know what I mean? Or you get COVID or something like that. But if it's like, if it's different, the reasons that we've seen in the past have always been the best. That's I guess I'll say that. Yes. So now, as far as your timeline of shows, okay, so we do your show, we look at your physique, and you're like, I want to get a pro card. Like, all right, cool. What is going to be the best odds for you getting your pro card? What is the best kind of cluster of shows to do it? Because even if you're an amazing athlete, let's say you've done 3 shows, you won all the overalls at every show, and you're just killing it. Like, you're going to be pro eventually. Everyone knows it. It's just a matter of when. I have a couple of athletes like that keep getting, like, they'll get first and not get the overall, or get second and not get the pro qualification. I've one overseas has been won every show, but she can't win the overall. It's only one opportunity to win the overall. And then another one overseas too keeps getting like second, and it's like, oh my gosh, when are you getting? Or she'll win and not win the overall, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, it doesn't make any sense. You'd be in the U.S. They both would be pro already, like, because the opportunities are way greater in the U.S. I think it was like, I did the totals and it was like almost 90 like bikini pro cards a year, something like that.
Okay.
There's like 16 at USA's and 16 at nationals and 16 at Universe and 8 at North. I'm getting them all mixed. 8 at North Americans, 8 at. So it's like there's just so many opportunities that you don't get to that level of where overseas you don't really get to that level of okay, she won a pro card, but she's not ready to be pro. You run into that a lot here where it's like, okay, she won a pro card, but she's not ready to compete as a pro.
Yeah.
Over there, it's like you won a pro card. Whoa, how'd you do that? And then, okay, what pro show you're gonna do? Because you already look like a pro. You already like look competitive as a pro.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a different scenario. But so you got to look at, especially in the US, like what's the cluster of shows that are gonna give you the best opportunity. And I like to say, okay, I don't want to do a national qualifier or a pro qualifier where it's early in the year and then there's no pro qualifiers for another like 2 months, 3 months after. I like to say, okay, even if you're an amazing athlete, even if you're just the bee's knees, right? And you keep winning overalls, the odds of you winning your pro card in your first attempt there is pretty low. It's some of the best girls, it takes them 6 times, 7 times to go.
That's what happened to me.
Dude,
I turned out okay though.
Yeah.
So there's hope.
I've seen a girl who's won a pro show take 13 times to get her pro card.
Okay.
Won a pro show.
Mm.
So like sometimes it's a matter of like, there's a lot of factors that go into it. There's just a ton of factors. Who's going to show up that day? There's going to be some slight variance of judges, even high level judges. Some might like a little bit leaner. Some might like a little bit softer. It's pretty close at the high level, but maybe you're too hard for certain judges and you're too soft for others. There's a lot of factors that go into it. And it's just some days are going to be your day. Maybe you looked your best you ever looked. And then next thing you know, 2 days before the show, you started your period, and you look bloated that day. There's just so many factors. So I don't want to waste a prep like early in the year where there's only one opportunity and then what are we going to do? Now we did a show in, let's say, March or April or whatever. And then we have to do a show. Now we were in target July, right? That's 4 months where we can't really make progress because you're going to have to be in prep essentially like the whole time. Like you're going to come out of the show. We'll get your calories up a little bit, but then how long do we have to do that? 6 weeks. And then we got to just watch your calories again, make sure that you're prepping in the next show. So I really like, as an athlete, the July timeframe for going for pro cards. So if someone is needing improvements and we're in November now and someone's needing improvements, I'm like, let's just start improving. And then let's start targeting shows maybe in June for your qualifying show to get you to qualify to nationals, late June, early June, whatever. Then we'll go to July. You could do Universe. If you're Masters, you could do Masters, Nationals. So there's kind of 2 routes. Let's say you're open division. You do Universe, then USA's, then maybe North Americans. Or you are a Masters and you do Universe, Masters, USA's, and North Americans. Masters, I say Masters Nationals, sorry. Masters USA is this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So and then you have to look at how many pro cards are given too. I look at that scenario. Okay, is there 2 pro cards per division given? Is there 1 pro card per division? Is it just the overall winner? The odds change based on the show. So I like, the best odds. I just go, okay, where's my best odds? Where am I getting 2 pro cards per division? Where there is a lot of cluster of shows in a short period of time where I can keep them in shape for a short period. And if they don't get that pro card by North Americans, okay, let's shut it down. Let's work again until next June. Mm-hmm. Now we have a solid 8 months of growing, whatever, till the next time. And that makes the most sense for some people. Mm-hmm. For some, if that's your scenario, you need more muscle. Now, if you don't need more muscle, don't worry about it. Just keep competing, right?
Right.
Do the cluster of shows, July, and then keep going. Yeah, do the shows in March. Do the early shows where there's less people competing. So it's kind of depending on where your physique is and where you are, where you're currently set up.
Yeah. I would say, like, for the most part, if you don't really have your eye on any specific shows and you're just like, I want to do a few, this year, I don't know where, I don't know when, I would say it's probably a good idea to start prepping, assuming you're competing starting June, because I feel like once late May hits, shows are like all the time, every weekend, all over the place. That's when they become the most plentiful, because after the December national show, there's a big gap for the most part of no shows taking place at all. Even for the pros, the welcome back show is usually the Arnold, and that's what people recognize as their first show. But there's a few sparse shows here and there before that, but they're very sparse. You'll see most of like the clusters of shows happen like June and probably June through August, I would say, for the most part. Not talking about national shows. I'm talking about regular shows in general, which I want to talk about, like just doing regular shows to get you comfortable competing on the national stage too, because we're thinking of, physique changes, improvements we can make, but there is another improvement we can make that we're overlooking, and that's your confidence on stage, how comfortable you feel up there, because you can practice in front of your coach all day, your iPhone, maybe even a seminar scenario, but until you're shot in the eye with a bunch of lights on stage and people's cheering for your name, you might get disoriented because you're not used to that scenario. So I do feel like there is benefit to competing in some of these smaller local shows too, and that's to get you comfortable. And stage IQ is something that we should talk a little bit about, and it's just kind of knowing your awareness on stage. Like if you got moved to the left side, how do you position your body? Little things like that. So there's so much you can learn and perfect in the meantime with these smaller shows, not only being comfortable and confident, but also figuring out what suit color looks best on you, best way to style your hair, your makeup, things like that. Because when it comes to national show, you need to have your ish together. Okay. You can't be figuring out, this might look a little bit better. You should have a plan. So I think that, regardless of your physique, there are benefits to competing in shows.
Yeah, I think you knocked that out nailed that on the head. No, that's one of the bigger factors that people overlook too. Just like stage presence, how big of a factor that is. And we see it all the time at the pro level. Like, we talk about, oh, this girl's posing routine is so good, and this girl just owns the stage, and she has that X factor. We saw these things. So yeah, if you're struggling on stage and you're just not, you're just not there. I have a couple clients that actually I had 2 clients this month, or was it? Well, I guess 2 clients in the last 4 weeks. I don't know what month it was because it's just the month just changed. In the last 4 weeks, I had 2 clients who just walked on stage. They just got on stage. They're in prep. The real show is happening soon, and they just got on stage. Both did really good. One won the overall. she literally did. I was like, we're just gonna have some carbs on Friday, and whatever happens. And she just wanted to get her stage time. She won the overall, and the other one won her division, but not the overall, which is worked out.
Yeah, that's what Samantha did last weekend too, which is like having a warm-up show to get the kinks out, to make sure everything's good to go. A little preview, if you will.
Yeah, congrats, Samantha. Yeah, winning the overall.
Yeah,
at that show. That I got to give credit to Mark and Jen too.
Yeah,
with their
the high roller.
The high roller. Yeah, that show is it's actually really nice. Like they do a really good high production show, and it's only been was it 3 years now?
I'm not
3 or 4, and that show is really turning out to be a good one. So congrats to Jen and Mark and expanding that. Getting more involved in that side of things. I think it's awesome.
We're so lucky in Vegas. We get all the cool shows.
Yeah, I know, right?
And the big ones like the Olympia. We got a few national shows. The one this weekend is in Vegas, the Masters USA.
Oh, and we have crazy seminars here too. We got to talk about. When's our next seminar? We just posted it.
That's for you because I'm not going to be there.
Oh, yeah?
So you promote away.
All right, let's see here. I just got tagged.
I'll be in Argentina, so.
And we're doing giveaways, and we're actually doing a lot of giveaways too. For the Olympia YouTube video that I did too, I got to give those giveaways there too. So I'll do that live. But a ton of giveaways, 2,000 in raffle prizes, 500 in cash. And then we will have that on and come out, come out to Vegas, make it a fun trip. What date is that? December 13th starting at 10 a.m. for bikini and fit model. All divisions will be there though. They have men's divisions. They have wellness. They have figure even this time. So yeah, come on out guys. It's free. And it's a good environment. People work out after. It's awesome gym. And it's going to be giveaways. I'm going to have 2 suits. Oh no, I'm sorry. 1 suit at that one. But I'll be giving away like 3 other ones for the other winners and stuff that I already owed. I owed one person a suit from last. I didn't have it in time. So yeah, that's basically. So come on out, guys. It'd be fun. Come out and learn, and then come out to Vegas. Have a good time. All right, that's my Vegas promo. Anything else that we need to cover in this, Ashley? I think we got a couple of things.
No, I think we're good on so far. But yeah, it's just good to have a timeline in mind. You don't have to have a specific show that you need to prep for. But even for me, how I structure my season is, I want to compete sometime in July. I have some shows I'm like, I'd like to do, but ultimately I just see like how my body responds, how I'm looking at that time, how I'm feeling most importantly, because there's been times where I didn't compete at a show because I felt like poop and I got sick. Like last year, for example, coming back from Kazakhstan, I was trying to do Romania and I got sick. So yeah, just be smart with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And just make sure, like you said too, you gotta be in the right mental state too.
Yeah.
That's the biggest, I think that's the honestly biggest
It's
thing.
really hard to focus or to force like the motivation. And I understand some days is not going to be as motivating as others, but if every single day is dreadful, it makes it really difficult because motivation is the best pre-workout. It makes those 50-pound dumbbells feel like 5. You push so much harder without even realizing it and you enjoy it.
Yeah. And then you wake up and that's what you're thinking about.
Yeah.
You're thinking about being excited to go to the gym versus waking up and being like, oh, I got to go to the gym now.
Yeah.
It's such a difference. And as a coach, I realize it's not just a difference in the like desire and adherence to plan, but just the results alone. Like, I don't know what it is when the stress is off and the pressure's off and people are like want to be there and they just like can't wait to get there. They just move and get results, you know? So
yeah, that was kind of like a little example of how the Olympia went. I was dreading that show, not necessarily motivated for it. I was just like stressed about it.
It's a tough year for you.
Yeah. And it just made everything so much worse. Everything felt heavier.
Yeah.
You
didn't really have any, it's always hard, but this year was your like most, like you felt like you're carrying a backpack of 50 pounds around the whole day.
Remember the first show I did this year was the Mile High. That was such an easy show to prep for. Like I was just like, am I even prepping right now?
Yeah.
And because I didn't have that same amount of pressure I did for Olympia. And it doesn't make sense because it's like the mental is so much connected to everything else. And yeah, it was really hard this year.
It's okay. Yeah. You've done this a long time and you're going to have those ups and downs. I mean, I have probably like the most blessed job in life, like that I could have ever imagined, right? With what I do. I love it. And then even then I'll have my moments too, where I'm like, oh, this is hard. Like this is hard, and it's like, and then I'll have to like, dude, stop, like stop, look at what you get to do. And we're all going to have those moments no matter what your job is. Bikini competitor and a coach, right? It's like pretty privileged, awesome life. And, but yeah, there's nothing that's ever going to be just 100% easy. That hard stuff's going to come around. The motivation is not going to be there all the time, no matter what you're doing.
It's true. Very true.
I wonder if guys who like eat like competitively for a living have to go through that, or if it always just like it's just like if they're motivated for it, or if it's just like I got to eat a lot of good food today. And I wonder how that is.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it probably hurts.
I wonder if they look forward to it, or if it's like, yeah, that is crazy. Those guys are crazy.
What a opposite sport.
Yes, I know. Literally the opposite sport. A lot of them are like lean guys, which is just so crazy.
Yeah.
But what anything that you found this year that maybe you could help the viewers like with getting out of that funk or anything? Or?
Well, in my scenario, I couldn't avoid it because I would just say, don't force yourself. Just push your show date back if you're not feeling it. But I didn't have that luxury because, like we already said, Arnold Olympia, it's there. You know, there's no running from it. So I would say allow yourself some grace. And if you're not feeling it, push the date back. It's okay. I feel like a lot of times the athletes feel like the coaches will get disappointed. I know for me, I wouldn't. I certainly wouldn't. I just want them to be like happy with the decision. I don't want them to force themselves to prep for something that they're not feeling it because they're going to have a bad experience overall.
Yeah, I like that. We got a question that came in. Let me see if basically this was funny. Competitive eaters probably crave celery and salad.
Oh, that's funny.
That's funny. I wonder if you're probably right.
That's a good way to look at it.
Because if we want nothing but junk food and they got to eat nothing but junk food, they probably want healthy food.
Yeah.
They're probably like, I just want to have a big ass salad and get my digestion right.
Or maybe they're just like, I'm looking forward to not eating today.
Yeah.
Because I already ate for the next week.
What a fun,
I don't know how that goes.
What an interesting thing, man. That's so funny. I watch Beard versus Food. Is it Beard versus Food or Beard? You seen this guy? He's got like millions of subs. Beard. I don't know why I watch it. Kimber watches. It's so weird that it's like entertaining to watch that. Yeah. Just watching someone do competitive eating stuff. It's like, it should be gross, right? But it's like everyone watches. He's got like millions of subs. He just travels around the world and does eating contests.
Interesting.
Yeah, beard. I think it's beard versus food or man. No, it's beard versus food. Beard meets food. I think it is
Okay.
beard meets food. I think that's what it is. Something like that. All right. All right. So it says this question comes in and it says, um, from a non-competitive female, what do you both focus on check-ins? Or how do you have a good check-in with a coach? Thank you.
That depends on the client's goals.
Mhm.
You know, is this person wanting to just build muscle and they're not so concerned about leaning out? Whereas some clients are just wanting those lean cuts.
Yeah, it really, I would say it just comes down to the client's goal and the weekly target. It's the same. Everything's the same when we do check-ins for whether it's a girl, a guy, a competitor, non-competitor, we call it transformers, right? From transformation client. And it's, did they hit the weekly target? And if you hit the weekly target, then everything's working great. And if not, what triggers do we need to push and pull to get you to hit the weekly target? It's really that simple. And then it's forever evolving and always changing. And we just have to figure out why you're not hitting those weekly targets, if those weekly targets are realistic on your end. And then at what point are we pushing those extremes, right? So if I have a client who's like, yeah, I'm a mom and I want to do lifestyle and I want to just lean out and get in shape for the beach season and I want to have dinner with my kids still, right? I have clients like that. Cool. Her, we're not going to push and pull that hard for her. We're going to be like, let's try to hit like 0.5, 0.75% a week of loss. Let's try to still grow the glutes. Let's try to grow the important things that you want to grow. And let's make sure we're pushing that as hard as we can. But we're not going to like starve her, make her go crazy in the gym, make her be like something where she's working out 6 days a week with an hour of cardio after workouts. It's going to be like, okay, what's the minimum time I can get her in the gym to get the maximum results? It's for her lifestyle. She's got young kids, whatever. So let's say 4 days a week. And then let's try to max her out at 30 minutes of cardio. And then let's still give her a couple meals a week where she can have with her family, that type of thing, right? So she's not going to be getting the same target. And that's in her setup, right? So that's going to be what her targets are. Is she hitting that target? If not, I'll make some adjustments. But if yours is like, hey, I want like, I don't care what it is, like that client I had, I want to be in shape in 12 weeks for a show, the slap in the face type of workout plan that I wake up every day and be like, I'm getting to work and this is my priority. That target's going to be different. Okay. Is she hitting that 1% weekly weight loss? Is she hitting a quarter of an inch on her waist, on her hips, or whatever the measurements we're tracking? How was her adherence to diet? How's her intensity? How's her recovery going? That's the kind of, it's going to be a different scenario for her than for everyone. So it's everyone's changes. I have, guys that I work with that are just transforming right now, like in the military and trying to do what they can in between. And so it's like, it's just a matter of per client and adjusting those things per client. So just make sure when you're checking in with your coach that you have a target set up. I'm sure they have a target set up for you, but if you need clarification on that, ask them, what am I just clarifying what I'm trying to hit and what you could do better, and if you're doing everything, then it's just time. And that's what people don't get a lot is it's just time. I get that question from like anxious people a lot where it's like, what else can I do? What else can I do? What else can I do? And then I'm like, if there was something else you could be doing to grow your glutes and I'm just telling you about it now, then I would have failed you 6 months ago, not now. Like you should be doing everything you can to achieve your goals already within your plan. So at this point, you just need to be patient. Like you just need to be patient. It takes forever. It took Ashley how many years we saw it?
Gosh, like 8 years or something for them to stop saying my shoulders were too small.
Dude, it took forever.
And I was doing it all. Yeah. Don't you worry. I was putting in work. I even had a trainer, everything, consistently hitting the shoulders. It just took time. There's no magical like technique or anything. And I would say there's no year that my shoulders just popped either. Like, oh, from this year to this year, it's like, oh, magically just popped. Yeah. So it was just a consistent little bit of growth each and every year.
Yeah, a lot of chicken death in those shoulders. Oh. A lot of chicken deaths in those shoulders. Yeah. How many years of chicken? 8 years of chicken 4 times a day.
Yeah.
Bless them. Bless them. They went to good use. All right. Okay, we have one. We'll go one more question, and we'll be done here. From Monica I was going to say that's so weird. Monica Kenneth. Hi, Ashley and Adam. Thanks for this live sesh. I'm currently working with a trainer and I started at 70, basically 76 kilos, currently down to 62 kilos. So 13 and a half kilos, 20, close to 30 pounds loss. I have not lost any weight in the past 1 month. Please share your thoughts. Target is 55 kilos. Okay. Well, you've lost a lot. You've lost a lot. 55 kilos from 75 kilos.
We're American.
Math. Okay, so she's lost about 30.
Disrespectful.
She's lost about 30 pounds. She
Okay.
started at about 165. I want to say 175. About 165. Currently 124 plus 2, like 135, 140ish, something in that range without doing the math like on a calculator. So, and wants to be 55, which would be 20ish. So, 15ish more pounds. Yeah, 15ish more pounds to go. Okay, so with all those numbers being in there, it's hard to say what it's hard to say because the problem is if you're 5 foot tall, that's not that lean. That's like it. It's cool. That's pretty normal. 120 pounds. It's not like crazy lean. If you're 5'8", 5'9", that's pretty shredded. Like that's a shredded. And if you're muscular, that's pretty shredded. So it depends on, are you at that stage? We talked about it a little earlier, going from, 22% down to 18%, not that hard to do. Going from 18% down to 14%, really, really hard to do. So are you at that final stage? How long did it take you to go from 76 kilos to 63 kilos? How far are you progressed into your diet at this point? Are you progressed into your diet a year and then your body is like super adapted? How low are your fats? How low are your calories? How high is your cardio? Where's your hormones at this point? Have you been, do you need a little bit of a breather? So there's a lot of factors that will go into everyone there. And it's going to be a tough scenario to answer without more data. Are you natural? Are you enhanced? Are you on HRT? Are you what's your age? Like all these are all factors where like the coaching part comes in. So it's never like a black and white answer. Like it's never like that easy. There needs to be just more information to figure it out. I know you said here you started in June. So you've done, that's a crazy amount of weight already since June, 30 pounds in, geez. Yeah, that's a lot. So we have July, August, October. And we're talking 4 months, 30 pounds. Yeah, that's a ton. So, yeah, it's going to be different for every scenario. I would run the whole scenario to your coach, run your labs, see where your health's at internally, where your calories, cardio's at, and get like a full synopsis. Okay, what's the picture? Why are we stopping? Why are we slowing now? And then you can get a better answer. But it's never going to be like, oh, just eat more, fish, you'll be fine. It's never like simple like that. There's going to be times where you go progress all the way up. And then there's going to be times where you're so far progressed, you need to deload that and reset too. So I don't know if that's where you're at, but I would talk to your coach and they should be able to give you a good answer if they're a coach that's going to be open and honest with you too. And that's the problem is that a lot of coaches aren't, too. Now, I'm done this for so long. I've learned it's just better to be honest with someone. And then sometimes it's like, hey, you've done really well. You got to push it. You got to pull back a little bit. But who knows what your scenario is? You got to really figure it out. It's not, you gotta look in. You can't just look at a car driving down the street and say, why is it fast? It's like, if that car might have a super engine, right? It might have all these turbos in it and all these special custom things. You can't just look at it from the outside. You got to open the hood and see what's inside and see what's making the car. Why isn't it working? Well, got to look under the hood, So there's a lot of things that go into it.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
And Paige wanted to know about chest training for bikini competitors. I know we don't train chest here around these parts.
Yeah, it's
very limited scenarios. I mean, there is an argument to be had. It helps with posture a bit. But
I mean, yeah, I'm not a fan of it because here's the thing. You got to look at, so there's a lot of factors that go into not training chest and training chest, right? One, there's never been a scenario ever, and I don't think there ever will be, where a judge came to me after the show and was like, you know what? That girl needs more pecs. That's why she lost. That's, like I can imagine, you can imagine like Sandy or Tyler coming to me after, you know what, Adam, she needs more upper chest development. Like it's just not a thing. Like
Not in bikini.
not in bikini. I've never even heard a judge mention pecs, right? So there's that, right? And we also have to look at the maximum use of our time, right? So if you're in the gym and you're doing, let's say you're doing a normal chest workout, that's going to be 3 to 4 exercises per week minimum. Sometimes, if you're doing every body part twice a week, that's, talking 6 to 8 exercises per week minimum of that, right? If you're doing the extra. So we're talking, that's 8 sets, 8 exercises times 4 sets, at max. We're talking what is that? 16, 32 sets that you could be, that's a full 1.5 workouts, right? That time can be better spent working on the glutes. You only have so much time that you can maximize in the gym. And we want to reach that maximum in the gym, like so here, I'll give you an example. Let's say there's one girl who's working out her glutes 3 times a week and shoulders 3 times a week and all the important things 3 times a week. But then the other girl's like, oh, I'm doing arms, I'm doing chest, I'm doing like calves and things that aren't super judged. And you want some calves, but you can usually get those from cardio. And then when you're wearing heels, your calves are always flexed. So you already have an advantage with the calves being always flexed when you're in heels. So they already look bigger than they need to be, right? So you say you're going to put these workout plan together for bikini specifically. Well, I want to maximize the efficiency of this girl in the gym, and I want to maximize her results versus other girls who are not taking advantage of those windows. So what are you gaining on those girls that are doing that? Well, you're gaining 2 workouts a week on your shoulders and on your glutes. So you're increasing, let's look at the math on that, right? If they're doing it twice a week, but you're doing 3 times a week, well, then you're doing 1 extra set versus their 2. So you're doing 50% more volume and frequency of their glutes and their shoulders. Who's going to get bigger glutes and shoulders, right? Well, simple math, unless you're doing, she's crazy intense on those 2. If it's the same, if everything's the same and you can all recover the same, you're getting 50% more volume and frequency. And I don't know if it's going to equal 50% more growth, but you're going to get more frequency. What is she gaining on you? Bigger pecs that don't help her? It doesn't make any sense. It's not smart, right? Why am I going to lose that time? Oh, wow, you gained bigger pecs on her. Cool. The judges don't care about pecs, right? So why would I waste that? And then the other thing is, if you had pecs in bikini, how is that going to be judged? Is it going to help you or hurt you? Well, if you have chest separation and a lot of development on your chest, I'm telling you what, bikini is a feminine division. They want to keep it that way. If you're having chest striations and a bunch of pec development, I don't think it's going to help you. I think they're going to say it's a little bit much for what we want, which is a bikini fitness model. That is what the division is. It's like now it's a little more muscular than it used to be. You have your actual fitness model bikini now, but I would say you have your beach fitness model, you have your like fitness bodybuilder model, right? So, but it's still supposed to be feminine. It's still supposed to be soft lines. You don't want to see like crazy chest separation, pec lines, save that for the other division. So anyway, when it comes to that, I'm going to be against it. And a lot of times people will argue and they'll say, oh, well, I want more front, like it's good for the front delt. Well, then just train front delts. Like why are we training another muscle group that's not going to help you, may hurt you if you just train front delts? Like why would I not just do that? Right. So now if you have like, let's say you're really bony up top and there's always going to be those one-offs that make sense, right? Maybe you're just really bony up top. You want to fill this area in a little bit. I don't know. I guess that would make sense, but I'm not wasting a lot of my time in there. And a lot of girls, when they get implants, they don't want to or can't train chest anyway. Like a lot of doctors will say they don't want them training chest too. So that's another factor totally outside of, for some. But and those girls are still doing great in shows. So it's not like it's an absolute requirement. So yeah, I would say invest your time wisely in the gym, train what's important, especially if you're training for the sport. You're not training for fitness anymore. You're training for a sport. You're going to train for that sport the best you can. If you're a football player and you're working and you're the front line on the football, on football, you're going to train for explosive movements for, 5 seconds of holding a guy, right? You're going to train power, explosiveness, right? If you're a long distance athlete, you're going to train endurance sports. So same thing with bikini. If you're a bikini competitor, you're going to train specifically in the bucket of bikini. The workouts do get narrow. The exercises get very narrow. It gets boring sometimes. That's what I run into with problems with clients. Sometimes it's like, oh, I would wish I had more variety. And I'm like, hey, like you're doing a funneled down workout of a sport. Like you take all of your lifting stuff, you take strength lifting, power lifting, all this stuff. You went with bodybuilding. Then you take your bodybuilding, you go, okay, bodybuilding, figure, wellness, bikini. Okay, you went bikini. That's another funnel. What does bikini judge? Shoulders, glutes, hamstrings, right? And some lats. Okay, that's what you're going to train. Sorry if it's like repetitive. You training for a sport. It is not. It's the same. And if you're training all the glute like areas that you're supposed to train, you're probably just going to keep doing the same glute exercises all the time, always. Like there's, you're not missing it. There's only like 4 good ones, 5 good ones.
You
You're
can
doing
say
all
that about any sport too. Like as a track athlete, like why would I train upper body as I do now, right?
Yeah.
So it's very sports specific, but even more specific when we're talking about the individual divisions.
Yeah, people don't get that, and it's hard to understand that when you're going from like health and fitness to targeted specific muscle group sport, you know, in a look that you're trying to achieve. Like it's a little, it's just you're training for a sport, you know, like it's just
drives the girls crazy that are like addicted to working out and lifting and going super hard in the gym, because you have to tell them, well, you can't train that anymore. You have to just do these specific exercises. And at some point too, you might get told you have to back off training that specific body part because maybe it's too developed.
That's my biggest issue I run into with athletes is like when they get too developed and you tell them that they have to like essentially stop or very, very infrequently work out X muscle group. That's where I run into the most resistance, where it was always fun for them. They always loved the gym. And now that they can't train arms anymore, whatever, they're like, oh, I really
that's just not me. That would be music to my ears. Like, oh, cool. One less thing to train. Awesome.
I've had a couple of girls that just like said, screw it. If that's the case, then I'm just not going to do bikini anymore. And I'll just lift for lifting, you know, because I like lifting. I'm like, cool, do it, you know? Yeah. And it's, you know, it is what it is. It's just, you're training for the sport. So hopefully that helps Paige. I went on a little tangent there. It was only one tangent today. That's good.
There was a few.
Was it? Did I?
About what you're training with? What was his
Carl.
name? Carl.
Hopefully
it's okay though. We love him. We love these stories. So
they're fun. People seem to like them, right?
Yeah.
We're at like 300 episodes. I'm just going to talk shit sometimes, you know? It is what it is. It's whatever comes to my mind. If you guys are still listening, I appreciate it. And if not, whatever, 300, I'm in too deep to stop now.
So just before we forget, there will not be any episode next week. Thanksgiving break.
Thanksgiving break. You tell the real reasons because I have to go to court. You can tell it's fine.
No.
I was also a bad boy.
I was trying to
fine.
Protect you.
I didn't have, without me telling the story because it's so frustrating. My registration was expired, but the DMV in Nevada was hacked. Did you know that was hacked?
Yeah.
You ran into it too. We've had everything hacked in here. We had the casinos got hacked, our DMV got hacked, and they physically they weren't open. And so my registration expired. I couldn't register and I got a ticket for no registration. And I showed the cop, I have an appointment, but like the DMV is closed. I can't physically register my car. The website is not working. And so now I got to go to court and like find a misdemeanor for not having registration. Isn't it ridiculous? I'm so mad. Monday, it's like my busiest day.
That's why there's no.
I will be in court telling this. Hopefully the judge, I'm like, hey, it's physically wasn't open. Like, what am I supposed to do? Just not drive. Like, I don't know what to do. So anyway, I'll let you guys know. I don't care if I pay a fine. I just don't want it on my record. Like, I'm cool. I'll be like, hey, just fine me. I'm fine with that. But like on my record where I have to pay more insurance and stuff, like that's messed up, you know?
You get a little teardrop.
I'm so hardcore.
You're going to get neck tattoos.
I'm going to join a gang so I can survive in prison. This is so bad, dude. And they'll be like, what are you in for? I'm like, didn't register for 2 weeks. Makes me so bad. All right, guys. That's my rant. So I'm going to get 3 rants in. All right. Talk to you later.